and welcome to the western capital of Belarus, Grodno. Today we will plunge into the world of history and secrets of this truly magical city. Let's start our enchanting journey.
The Grodno Protestant Church is the only acting Lutheran church in Belarus. The church was first mentioned in 1793, when King Stanislaus II presented the building of the farmer tavern to the Lutheran community that comprised craftsmen coming from Germany to work in Grodno. By 1843, the building of the farmer tavern was rebuilt into a stone church. The church was almost destroyed during World War I and World War II. In 1993, the community of Grodno Lutherans resumed the activity of the church. At the beginning of the 20th century, a new church in the style of Gothic revival was built on the site of a small wooden church. However, a difficult period began for the local Lutherans. During the First World War, the Tsarist authorities deported Grodno Germans deep into Russia, and the Lutheran community declined several times. Since the 1940s, the state archives were housed in the building of the church, and the interior of the church was significantly altered. By the beginning of the 21st century, the Lutheran church was in a poor condition, but in recent years, its restoration was carried out. At present, the Kirk acts.
St. Francis Xavier Cathedral is a Roman Catholic cathedral in Grodno, Belarus. Originally a Jesuit church, it became a cathedral in 1991, when the new Diocese of Grodno was erected. Nowadays it's one of only 3 minor basilicas in Belarus. The Catholic Cathedral of St. Francis Xavier in Grodno is one of the most famous, outstanding and richly decorated churches in Belarus. It was built from 1678 to 1703 and was solemnly consecrated in 1705. The main facade of the temple is decorated with 2 majestic graceful towers, which were erected from 1750 to 1752. Unofficially, this temple is also called Farni Cathedral, which means simply the main cathedral. The size of St. Francis Xavier Cathedral is very impressive, and the interior of the church is striking in its wealth. Numerous architectural and artistic features and advantages of the Catholic Church of St. Francis Xavier in Grodno make it comparable to the most famous world masterpieces of the Baroque style. In 1725, a mechanical tower clock was installed in the north tower of the church, which was previously located in the tower of the city hall, destroyed during the Russian-Polish War of the mid-17th century. This clock is one of the oldest operating tower clocks in Eastern Europe. In 1990s, Pope John Paul II granted the status of the minor basilica to the Catholic Church of St. Francis Xavier in Grodno. In Belarus, only a few churches bear this honorary title.
The Colosseum Church of Saints Boris and Gleb is the oldest extant structure in Grodno, Belarus. It is the only surviving monument of ancient Black Ruthenian architecture, distinguished from other Orthodox churches by prolific use of polychrome, faceted stones of blue, green, or red tint, which could be arranged to form crosses or other figures on the wall. The church was built before 1183 and survived intact, depicted in the 1840s by Michal Kulesha until 1853, when the south wall collapsed, due to its perilous location on the high bank of the Neman. During restoration works, some fragments of 12th century frescoes were discovered in the apsis by the architectural historian Vasily Gryaznov. Remains of 4 other churches in the same style, decorated with pictures and colored stones instead of frescoes, were discovered in Grodno and Volkovysk. They all date back to the turn of the 13th century, as do remains of the first stone palace in the old Grodno castle. The church is a cross-domed building supported by 6 circular pillars. The floor is lined with ceramic tiles forming decorative patterns. The interior was lined with innumerable built-in pictures, which usually serve in Eastern Orthodox churches as resonance, but in this case were scored to produce decorative effects. For this reason, the central nave has never been painted. In 2004, the church was included in the tentative list of UNESCO's World Heritage Sites.
The Gilbert Park. In the town Grodno, there is an unusual attraction that has a French name. This is the Gilbert Park, named after the scientist with French roots, whose life and density is inseparably connected with the Belarusian town. A famous Frenchman who began his activities in Grodno in the 18th century was a physician, botanist and biologist. In the 1770s, he was invited to the territory of Belarus by Anthony Tyzenhauz in order to develop medicine and botany in this land. In 1776, Gilbert and Tyzenhauz signed a 10-year contract in terms of which he had to engage in the foundation of veterinary and medical schools. Besides, he was given the foundation to explore in detail the nature of the Lithuanian area and then write scientific works on the results obtained. Later, Gilbert had to become a teacher in the Grodno Academy, which soon was to be opened. The garden, laid out by the French botanist in the Belarusian town, got surprisingly well acclimatized and grown. By 1777, and more than 1,200 most exotic and unusual plants for our latitude successfully grew there. A year later, Gilbert increased their number by almost half, and now it's already 2022. Unfortunately, the plants planted there have not survived. But in the place of the richest botanic garden, there is a picturesque town park named after the scientist who made an invisible contribution of the history and development of the science not only of Grodno but of the whole Belarus.
Hope you enjoyed our little trip. You will definitely fall in love with Grodno, so do not miss the opportunity to feel the magic of this fabulous city. Bye!